rounds?
A boss can take out 2 to 3 rounds at a time.
Yeah, so 2 to 3 rounds per second, is it, or per minute?
A second.
A second. So therefore, to fire 200 rounds would be 200 divided by 3, right? That would give you the number of seconds, right? So that should be about, I'm not so good in maths, I'm a lawyer. That's our excuse anyway. But it's 200 divided by 3. So that should be about 80 something, or say 90 something. No, 60 something, yes. Say 65 or 66? 66, yeah. So 1 minute, you pretty much exhaust 200 rounds, correct?
That's correct.
So then you stopped firing. You fired for about 1 minute, you stopped firing. Then you arrive at the guard room. Tell us what happened after that. So how long did it take you to arrive at the guard room area?
Actually, we didn't go directly to the guard room per se. We stopped around the building of the barn and drum. It's where a ceasefire was called. So the moment I stopped mine and applied my safety catch, I collapsed.
Why did you collapse?
I was breathing a lot of gas coming from my machine gun. So this weakens me. I was lacked of strength. So I was carried in a fireman form, fireman carrier we call it. This guy will grab here, that one will grab here, and they took you to the guard room. I was taken to the guard room and placed in one of these beds. It's when I heard no soldiers again, I knew that they are back, because I heard them saying they are going to take the captives to mile 2. So when they came back, the noise, I forced myself and get up, take off my arms again, and went outside. So there an order was given that all those who came from State House can go back. So we arrived in Banjul maybe after 6 a.m. towards 7, something like that.
So you did not witness the shooting of the captured soldiers?
They were not shooting. When they were captured, they were taken to mile 2.
Mr. Witness, again, you have concocted a story to extricate you from what happened at Fajara Barracks.
It's not actually like that. In Fajara Barracks, even to my surprise, I came to know that there was not even a wounded somebody.
Okay. So as soon as you put in your safety catch, you collapsed?
Yes.
From the gas?
Yes.
That's your testimony?
Yes.
But the gas in the machine gun does not make anybody collapse?
It can, including the way it was shaking my body.
Mr. Witness, we have looked at this. The gas does not make anybody collapse.
It is possible, Counsel.
Well,
like I said earlier,
let's take it step by step. Let's look at what you have said to the investigators. Your first meeting with the investigators, you said it was the gas, correct?
Yes.
But when you did your statement, you changed your story. You said you collapsed out of exhaustion.
Yes.
That's in your statement.
Yes.
And now again, you have reverted back to the issue of the gas.
Yes.
because you have realized that we have already set you up to show that you have used that gun from the bridge all the way to State House without collapsing.
Because there we didn't fire.
That is why now you are trying to use the gas again as an excuse. You didn't know you would be asked these questions, did you?
No, Counsel. This can be a combination of that exhaustion and the gas.
Your statement does not say that. Your statement says it's exhaustion. So you see, Mr. Witness, you tried to extricate yourself from this.
It's not like that, Counsel.
You try to see no evil. You try to hear no evil. You try to participate in no evil. You're trying to shield yourself from responsibility. That's why you faked this collapse, which never occurred.
No, it did occur, Counsel.
Would it surprise you to note that no witness ever mentioned that?
It is possible, but this is what happens to me.
And do you know that Yankuba Toure is alleged to have collapsed at Fajara Barracks? The witnesses, at Yundum Barracks, the witnesses said it.
No, I didn't realize that.
You did not realize, but people who were close to him realized that happened, and they said it. But nobody mentioned you collapsing.
I did, and this is the truth, Counsel.
And an order was given for all those from State House to return to State House. That's your testimony.
Yes.
And you guys returned to State House.
Yes.
Would it surprise you to note, okay, let me rephrase, Manlafikor, he was from State House, wasn't he?
No, Manlafi was at Fajara Barracks then.
At that time, Manlafikor was from State House.
Well, I cannot recall that.
Mr. Witness, don't try to play games. Soldiers were not taken from Fajara Barracks to go and fight. Soldiers were taken from State House, correct?
That's correct.
Manlafikor participated in those events, didn't he?
I cannot recall seeing Manlafi.
Yes, you would pretend now, because
pretending.
you know that Manlafi is from State House and he participated.
To my knowledge, Manlafi was at Fajara Barracks.
Witnesses have him at State House. Witnesses have him participating in Fajara Barracks. Witnesses have him participating in Yundum Barracks. What do you say to that?
It's possible, but to my own recollection, I cannot recall seeing Manlafi.
How about Babukar Mbup?
Yes, Babukar was a State Guard member.
Yes, but Babukar went back to Yundum Barracks.
To State House.
Babukar went back to Yundum Barracks. That is the evidence.
I cannot recall that.
We have a statement from Babukar. He said he went back to, all of you went back to Yundum Barracks.
No, I disagreed.
Mr. Witness, it is the case that you want to extricate yourself from what happened at Yundum Barracks, so now you concoct this story that you went back to State House.
That is what happens, Counsel.
What happened? You went back to State House or you went back to Yundum Barracks?
Back to State House.
How?
By means of transportation.
You went alone?
No.
You went back with the staff, the fighters from State House, all 46 of you. You see, Mr. Witness, that is completely different from the testimony that all the soldiers provided. It's your own imagination, calculated to deceive the commission.
No, Counsel.
You can deny as much as you want, but you have not offered anything to suggest that the evidence received by the commission is false. And you have an interest in getting the commission to accept your own version, because your own version would remove you from those who committed crimes.
No, it is not like that. I'm saying what I know.
All right? So you went back to State House. So therefore, you did not participate in the events that led to the killing or the extrajudicial killing of the other soldiers who were captured previously.
That is correct.
So let's get your testimony correct. November 11, you went out with council members, right, to cross the counter coup. That's what happened, right?
That's correct.
And in the process, you saw nobody beaten. You saw nobody shot. You saw nobody killed. Yet you participated in this event. That's what you want us to believe.
That is what happens, Council.
That's strange, isn't it? I would leave it at that. So let's move on. In fact, before that, let me play the video for Ensa Mendy. You would hear what he has to say about what happened immediately after the shooting of the soldiers at Fajara Barracks. You would see in his testimony that there is no mention of this order by Sana that all those from State House should return to State House. I'll ask the technicians to play the video of Esa Mendy. It's not ready. All right. We'll move on. We will move on. But let me just make it clear to you that none of the witnesses recall or mention an order given by Sana Sabali for the soldiers from State House to return to State House. What do you say to that?
Well, I can say immediately they came back from Mile 2. We were ordered to go back to State House, meaning our mission that day was ended. So at least to the council members, everybody go and join the guy you are responsible for.
And that was the end of things?
What I know.
Well, what you know is different from what everybody has said. That is the reason why your testimony is not believable.
And that is how it goes, Council.
That is what you want to tell us. That's what you want us to believe.
That is what I know.
And the reason is you don't want to be present where the torture happened. You don't want to be seen as having participated in the torture. You don't want to be seen as having participated in the shooting of the soldiers at Fajara. You don't want to be seen to have participated in the shooting of the soldiers at Yundum Barracks. You also don't want to be seen as having participated in the shooting and killing of the soldiers in the forest.
Yes, because I was not present.
Yes, because you don't want to be seen as having participated.
It is not like that.
Okay, so you went all night in this operation. You saw nothing wrong. Not a single thing happened. You have no response.
Arrests were made, and in my presence, they were taken to Mile 2. So.
No, you said they were taken to the guard room.
Those at Yundum, those who were arrested at Yundum were left there in the guard room. But those who were arrested in Fajara Barracks were taken to Mile 2 while I was lying down.
Who was arrested at Fajara Barracks?
I couldn't know exactly because I was lying down in the guard room.
Who took them to Mile 2?
The soldiers I went with.
Did you go along with them?
No, I was lying down.
Which particular soldier took them to Mile 2?
I couldn't tell.
How do you know they were taken to Mile 2?
Because when I was being taken to the guard room, I overheard that they are going to take those arrested there to Mile 2.
But at this stage you had collapsed.
Yes, this is what I mean. I overheard it.
So you collapsed, but you overheard it.
I collapsed. I was still conscious. It's only that I lose strength. I lose strength, but I was conscious.
You want us to believe that?
And this is the truth, Counsel.
You said you collapsed.
Yes.
And you were carried.
I was carried because I lose strength. I couldn't stand on my own.
And you can recall them
Yes.
saying that these guys will be taken to Mile 2?
Yes, because I was still conscious, mentally.
Okay. Interesting. Mr. Senghor, your testimony is certainly very interesting. But let me tell you that those arrested were taken to Mile 2 after the killings at Yundum Barracks.
No, Counsel.
So you say that is also wrong?
In Fajara Barracks, all those who were arrested were taken to Mile 2. But those arrested in Yundum, we left them at the barracks prior to attack Fajara Barracks.
Okay. So your testimony is that those who were arrested at Yundum Fajara Barracks were taken to Mile 2. Well, the evidence we have is that straight from Fajara Barracks, Sana Sabali went to Radio Gambia and made an announcement and joined the rest of the soldiers in Fajara Barracks, in Yundum Barracks, excuse me. That is the evidence. You say that is wrong?
No, I didn't say so. All I said was, when soldiers arrested from Fajara Barracks were taken to Mile 2, council members and their orderlies went back. They didn't travel with us to State House.
Where did they go?
Back to Yundum Barracks.
Yes, so it means, let's get it straight. Edward Singate, Yankuba Ture, Sana Sabali, Sadibo Haidara, and their list of orderlies. You mentioned Ensa Mendy. I have the list here. You mentioned Ensa Mendy, Jali Musa Sow, JCB Mendy, somebody called Sow, Sekou Jase, Mustafa Toure Churo, Alfuseni Suso, Njai Ponkal, some other Njai Baba or something you said, Bakari Jiba, Bach Samba Jalo, and Lamin Fati. These are the people who went back to Yundum Barracks.
Yes.
And these are the people who would obviously participate in the rest of the events, correct?
That is a likelihood, Counsel.
Mr. Witness, this is, according to the evidence, far from the truth. The entire group went back to Yundum Barracks.
No, Counsel.
The only reason you are saying this is because you don't want to be included in that group that went back to Yundum Barracks and committed the heinous crimes that took place there. You want to save yourself from responsibility.
No, Counsel, it is not like that.
All right. So let's move on. You talked about when you went back to Fajara Barracks, What happened to you, to State House, excuse me, what happened to your career afterwards?
I continued serving the military.
And where were you posted?
State Guards.
So can you tell us what happened after Sana Sabali was arrested?
I continued still working.
Did you have occasion to go to Mile 2 at any stage during that period?
No, before this period.
Before which period?
Before Sana Sabali was arrested.
What did you go to do?
I was taken to Mile 2 for interrogations.
To interrogate who?
There were a lot. Most of them were senior officers.
And what was your role?
I was part of the team.
The team of what? Or the team of who?
A team of soldiers led by Alaji Martin.
To do what?
To interrogate them.
Can you tell us who you interrogated?
I personally interrogated RSM Fai, RSM Babukar Sanyang, and Musa Sise. Because I was having a personal issue between me and these three people.
Tell us how it happened, and tell us what happened in detail, please.
I think few months before 94, the then President Jawara traveled out of jurisdiction, and he was to come back early in the morning. So we were asked to go home, prepare our uniform and boots, and come back to the barracks by midnight, which I failed to do. I decided that I will make it early in the morning. So by 4 a.m., I joined a workers' bus coming from GPTC depot to collect GPTC staffs who lives in Bakau. It was so early that only two of us were managed to make it on time to board those vehicles. So it was only two of us, me and Musa Sise, who make it on time to join the workers' bus. So in the bus, I was even trying to dodge away from him because he was like a father to me. I was born in his presence. So instead of taking his own seat, he came and sit beside me and asked me, why didn't you sleep in the barracks? I tried to explain, but he stopped me. I definitely wanted to lie to him, but he stopped me before I even go further. He told me that service don't know this. For instance, even you were asked to do something and one of your parents is late, you have to go to the barracks. He took permission. If you are permitted, you go back. If not, you have to continue your work. So let me desist from such practice. I was even surprised because his name was not that good in the barracks, because people see him as very strict somebody. So I was surprised with the advice he gave me. We took the workers' bus up to GPDC depot, then we boarded another one heading to Tabokota. It was in the rainy season. The moment we arrived at Tabokota, it started raining. So there was a vehicle coming, and the engine shows me that this might be an officer's Land Rover, because there used to be a Land Rover dispatched purposely for officers. So I volunteered and went under the rain and stopped the Land Rover. It stopped some few meters from where I was. Then me and Musa Sise joined that Land Rover to the barracks. The Land Rover went directly to the officer's mess. Officer's mess is not far from the guard room. Sorry, from the cookhouse. So I saw soldiers taking their breakfast, but all of them were with their arms. So I decided to first go to the armory, withdraw my weapon, then join them to have breakfast. After doing this, even those who were very close to me didn't know that I don't sleep in the barracks, because they would have asked me yesterday, I was looking for you, but I didn't see you. So then I knew that nobody knew about it. So we went to the airport, excuse me, when we formed up, the guard of honor provides 2 ranks. Then behind the ranks, you have the band and drum, but their band master, a drum major will be in front. That is covering the RSM of the infantry soldiers. So it's there where he reported me to RSM 5. Immediately after the guard of honor, somebody called me. He's late now. He's just started to explain to me what he had. Then RSM himself called me, RSM 5, and asked me to double up. So when I went to RSM 5, he asked me, why didn't you sleep in the barracks yesterday? I wanted to respond, and he shouted on me to shut up. So he told me to report to his office immediately we entered the guard room. And this was on a Friday. If you commit an offense in Yundum barracks those days on a Friday, you will spend the whole weekends there. You will be detained. So I said to myself, it has already happened, so I will not sleep in the barracks. What will happen will happen. My only worry that time was how to return my rifle, because orders were given that whoever retrieve your rifle from the armory, that is, if you sign it out, you have to sign in. So anybody I approach, even the closest guys with me, they will remind me of that order. So I said, then RSM will get me. So as I was sitting on the truck going back to the barracks, one of my class, he's late now, he was killed in the Katong attack. He told me that in Mandinka, Hanikutije, class Yabijele, bring your rifle, I will return it. So as soon as we entered the barracks, I found the back gate. I went through the back gate to the primary school on the highway, I've gone. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then Monday, I came back to work. We were in first parade, I saw the RP come in. The moment I saw that RP, I said, well, this one is for me. So the RP took permission from my platoon sergeant, and I was asked to follow him. We went to RSM 5's office. He told me it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I said yes. He told me today is Monday, then it will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You'll spend in the cells before we can talk about it. So I said, okay. So I was there up to the second day after work, evening time. The RSM asked one of the RPs to take me to his home, that he was living in the barracks. So I went to his house. He started advising me that I am too young in the job, less than two years. If he should levy charges against me, it will affect my file, my personal file. So he's going to forgive me. If I wish, I can go home at that moment. This was like after 6. Or I sleep till the following day, he will give me a whole day off. So I calculated this and see that it's better I sleep, because by the time I leave Yundum Barracks to Bakau, it will be in the darkness, so, and I also report the following morning. So I decided to sleep. In the morning, he also honored his promise. As soon as he came, he asked for my release. Then I went home. Surprisingly, after 3 weeks or so, I was charged again. So the charges were conducted at my company headquarters, but it didn't meet the company commander there, that Momodu Baje. Maybe he went on an official errand. So the charges were to be, the orderly room was to be taken by Edward Singate. But now, the problem with them was they didn't have anybody to witness that case. They were calling people because I was standing outside and I was overhearing them. Anybody they call, that person will refuse. So they called Babukar Sanyan, and he agreed. When Babukar found me at the office entrance, he asked me, what is going on here? I told him, you are the one they call and you accepted to be the witness. Go inside and ask them. Because there and then I know that advantage was being taken on me, so I was ready to be dismissed that day.
Are you happy with this arrangement?
Never.
Proceed.
So I was called in, and the charges were read to me. I plead not guilty. Then Edward Singate put down his pen and said, look, I shouldn't even conduct this orderly room. Even the company commander, these charges are above him. You should be referred to the battalion commander, the Nigerian. And those days, that guy said, if somebody have an offense, a lance corporal, the chain of command, cannot treat it. If it reaches him, he will dismiss you, meaning you are not a good soldier. So Edward asked me to take whatever comes my way, because he cannot also afford to lose a soldier like me. So I take it in good faith. I was awarded 14 days detention.
So this is your second trial for the same offense?
Sorry?
This is your second trial for the same offense, correct?
Yes.
So you are being punished the second time for the same offense?
For the second time, on the same offense.
How do you feel about that?
Very bad.
You were angry with the people who subjected you to this?
I even took it personally.
Okay. So these were, who was responsible for this situation? RSM Fai?
I think Fai is responsible.
Sanyang and Sise?
Yes,
these three people were responsible for the fact that you were being punished twice for the same offense.
Yes.
And you were not happy about it.
Yes.
You were bitter.
Yes.
So tell us what happened in November.
So when they were affected by this November 11 and we went to Mile 2, people, some detainees were being tortured.
By who?
By the team I went with. Exactly, I cannot remember who.
Tell us who was in the team. Who led the team?
Elijah Martin led the team.
What was his rank at the time?
And he was a staff sergeant, if I am not mistaken.
What is his rank today?
I think he's a general.
General where?
In the army.
So Elijah Martin led the team of torturers, correct?
That I went with that day.
But apart from Elijah Martin, you can't remember the name of any other member of that team?
No, I cannot remember the team members. Because
are you avoiding to mention their names?
No, this is a long time, Council. But the thing is...
But you all know one another?
But the thing is, there was this amalgamation and it doesn't took much time then. The young from the Zandam were amalgamated with the soldiers, so you cannot know everybody.
But you remember Elijah Martin,
because
he was the leader of the torturers, and you were in that group, correct?
I knew Elijah Martin since I was a child. Because
the question is, you were part of that group?
At 3 years I was.
So tell us what happened when you arrived at Mile 2.
When we arrived at Mile 2, detainees were brought in the hall, and they were being tortured.
Yes, can you tell us who was being tortured?
I cannot remember these detainees exactly.
Can you describe how the torturing was happening?
Some by slapping, kicking, butt stroke. So when they brought these three, I was saying...
Which three?
That is RSM Fai, Baukar Sanyang, and Musa Sise.
But before they were brought, some other people were brought before them?
Yes.
And what happened to those people?
They were beaten.
By who?
By the group I went with.
And tell us the order, the hierarchy. You said Elijah Martin was the leader. What was your rank at this stage?
I was a private soldier.
Who was the number 2?
I couldn't remember.
All these others, were they also private soldiers?
Maybe there might be a rank holder, but I can't remember exactly.
You can't recall?
No.
All right. But Elijah Martin was running the show, that's what you said?
He was the leader.
Yes.
He was the head.
So this first batch, you said they were tortured by way of beating, slapping, kicking, and butt stroke, correct?
Correct.
Was anything else done to them apart from that type of torture?
No, after that they were returned back to their cells and brought in this team, these 3 people.
So these 3 people comprising of who?
Sasise, RSM Fai, and Baukar Sanyang.
All at the same time?
No, at intervals.
At intervals. Yes. Who came first?
I couldn't remember.
So you said they were brought at intervals. So how did it happen? One person brought?
No, maybe 2 to 3 people at a time.
3 people were brought?
Together.
And they were brought at intervals?
No, these 3 were brought together.
They were
before
brought
these 3,
Uh-huh.
there were others before these 3.
So those others were tortured?
Yes.
By your group?
Yes.
Did you participate?
No.
You did not participate?
I did not participate.
You were just a bystander?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second group?
Was these 3 that I mentioned.
Fai, Sise, and Sanyang?
Yes.
And what happened with these 3 when they were brought?
When they were brought, they were asked to sit on the floor. Then I turned to Alaji Martin and asked permission that I will be dealing with these 3 people. At that instance, even Alaji Martin thought these people will have more than what the others have. So,
What do you mean by that?
that I am going to deal with these 3 personally. Nobody will participate in their interrogation.
You said these people will have
No.
more than what the other group would have, what
no.
the other group was given. That's
No.
what you said.
I said,
Uh-huh.
when I took the permission, maybe Alaji Martin was thinking that these people will have more than what the first guys have.
What do you mean by that?
Because maybe they will be expecting that I will torture them mercilessly. So the permission was granted.
So to permit to torture them mercilessly?
Yes.
Okay, what happened after that?
So what happens, I begin talking to RSM5 to ask him, why did you punish me? I slept 2 days in the cells. You forgive me between, you said, according to Alaji Fai, he said between a Jola and a Serer, he is going to forgive me. But let me desist from such stubbornness again. So I appreciated that time. So when I asked him in mile 2, he told me that it was Musa Sise who wasn't, happy or satisfied by the way I was punished. So I told him, but you've already forgiven me. Why charging me again? Did you not fear God? He kept quiet. Then I turned to Musa Sise and told him, when I passed out and came to Yundum Barracks, it was only you and the bad master that I knew, because I was born in your presence. I was a small boy in your presence. So I was looking up to you as a father. Like if I should have any difficulty or problem in this camp, you are the one I should rely on. But for him, he couldn't even speak. Then when I turned to Babukar, I told him to swear between him and God if he have known anything about the offense I committed that day. He kept quiet. Then he later responded to me that we used to do it for one another. If I charge somebody and I fail to have a witness, I can just call you and say, boy, come on, witness for me. I told him, but you are witnessing something you didn't know about. You didn't even fear God. I told them that here I have the power now to pay back, to do anything I feel like. But I promise you that even a single harm will not be laid on you people.
And then what happened?
And that's how it went.
They were not beaten?
At that day.
Nothing happened to them?
At that day.
They were sent back to their cells?
Their cells, yes.
That is your testimony?
That is my testimony.
Even all this grudge that you had all these years, now they were in your charge, you could do anything you wanted, you just let them go.
Simply because I finally found the truth. So they have to forgive and forget.
You had mercy.
Because of even the situation they were in, I felt it for them much more to revenge again, personally.
It surprised Martin, didn't he?
It might be because they all heard what I was saying, so they feel the advantage that was taken on me.
So Martin accepted your request?
Yes.
And let them go?
Yes.
Mr. Witness, tell us the truth.
And this is the truth.
You tortured them mercilessly?
No, I never
did. Didn't you?
Even a hand was not laid on them.
Okay,
on
now
that particular day.
Let's look at the evidence that we have. Sanyang said, you tortured him mercilessly. That's what Sanyang said. Let's play the video. The technicians play us the testimony of Lieutenant Colonel Babukar Sanyang, where he talked about his torture at Mile 2 prison. Just a moment.
I saw
just a moment. That's
a plastic bag
Lieutenant
being
Colonel
put on my
Babukar
head.
Sanyang, the RSM at the time.
Yes.
That's him, right?
That's him, yeah.
Let's listen to him, what he has to say. Could you kindly take it back a little bit?
You know, he said, look, handle him. So this handle him, all of a sudden I saw a plastic bag being put on my head and then tied it.
Put the plastic bag over
The
your
guy behind me,
Do you know who he was?
no, but two guys that I in fact confirmed, that is Senghor, Pa Senghor and Ndur, because Pa Senghor was on my
Give
left.
us their full names and ranks, please.
Kindly proceed.
Sorry, we know him as Pa Senghor. And this Ndur,
Where is he now?
Ndur is late.
What about Pa Senghor?
Pa Senghor is alive, sorry.
Where is he now?
That is Senghor, Pa Senghor and Ndur, because Pa Senghor was on my
Give
left.
us their full names and ranks, please.
Sorry, we know him as Pa Senghor. And this Ndur,
Where is he now?
Ndur is late.
What about Pa Senghor?
Pa Senghor is alive, sorry.
Where is he now?
I don't know. He's working with either SIS or maybe
SIS?
drug squad. I don't know.
Is he with the SIS?
Yes, I think so.
Please proceed.
You know. He asked them to handle me. I said, what? They put that plastic bag on my face, on my head, and then just tied it. Started beating me.
Where did they beat you and how?
Huh?
Where did they beat you and how?
At my back, wherever. Just started beating me. Talk. You know,
Were they using their hands or any particular instrument?
body, legs, and even the buttstock. So, you know, you can feel, you can exhale, but you cannot inhale.
You accept that he's talking the same incident that you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, he said you guys suffocated him with a plastic bag and you were hitting him all over his body. Is he lying?
It's not correct, Counsel.
This one too is lying.
It's not correct.
It's lying about your involvement.
Yes.
And you are the person who has an interest in his story not being believed.
Yes.
So, and you want us to believe your story.
It's
That they came, you had all this grudge against them for all this time. And when they came, this time around, you pleaded for them for nothing to happen to them.
Yes.
But they don't see it your way. They said you tortured them mercilessly.
No, I never did.
You never did.
If I did, I would have just said, yes, I did this to Babakar.
No, you don't have the courage to, Mr.
No,
Witness.
it is not about courage.
Let's listen to RSM-5. RSM-5 has a completely different narrative. He was not there at this time. He was not. He was arrested in July and he was not there. What do you say to that?
I disagreed. I maintain my statement that RSM was there.
You tortured Sana Sabali, didn't you?
No. Counsel, after this visit, I've never been to Mile 2 again while in the army.
Sanyang was arrested not in July. Sanyang was arrested not in November. Sanyang was arrested after Sabali. He was arrested because of Sana Sabali. He was arrested because he visited Sana Sabali's home. What do you say to that?
I have no knowledge about that.
You having selective memory, isn't it?
I have no knowledge about that. So
when you tortured Sanyang, he was tortured immediately after Sana Sabali.
I was not present.
This first batch you mentioned as having been tortured was Sana Sabali's batch.
No.
Mr. Witness, you don't want to be a witness to any torture.
Oh.
In the group that you mentioned, tortured the first batch, you would not recall their names because you don't want to implicate your colleagues.
It's not about implicating. It's not about implicating.
As far as you can recall, there is no violation of rights that you witnessed.
Yes.
Only one incident, that is the beating of the first batch.
Yes.
You can't recall who's the first batch. You can't recall who beat them.
Yes, that's correct.
You are avoiding mentioning names.
No, I am not.
Because it would come back to haunt you.
I'm not avoiding.
After this particular incident, you said you never went back to Mile 2.
Yes.
What did you do after that?
I continued my work until sometime around 2001. Then another attempt was made. And this was the first time an attempt came within us, that is within the state guards. So I was...
Which year was this?
I can remember something around 2001, either early or mid 2001. So I was in my house, that I slept in my house, and a colleague, a cousin, knocked at my door that there is an attempted coup. My first word was, from which barracks? He told me, no, this is within us, but the caller said the situation is neutralized, so no need for anybody to go to the State House. Then that guy was very young in the job. He was young in the State House, in the State Guards also. So I advised him, well, by 8 o'clock, try and report to the State House for accountability purpose. And I did that myself. By 8 o'clock, I went to the State House. So we were told if anybody is not on essential duty, you can go back home. That was my last day off. I used to have 2 days off. Then the following day, on a Sunday, I reported on duty, and I was posted at the kitchen of the president. The kitchen and our bodyguard guard room are almost near. So we were there. I saw a group of soldiers approaching us, coming towards us. Automatically, I knew something is going on. But to me, maybe they are coming to look for reinforcement from those who were sitting there with me. So when they arrived, they asked me to come to the guard room, to enter the guard room. So like I said, I have no other thought than maybe they are looking for reinforcement. So when I entered the guard room, I was asked to surrender my pistol. I said, why? They said, because you are among the suspects. So I removed my pistol, clear it, remove the round in the chamber, because I always put the round in the chamber and host it. So I removed that round, return it in the mark, and hand over the pistol and the mark. So by the time this process was going on, I can realize a lot of people that come with the group have sneaked away. So the sergeant who led that group also felt the same thing, so he asked me to wait for further notice. I went back to where I was sitting and continued my duties. Then around 4, I went out of the State House for almost an hour plus. But when I was going, I found a soldier at the gate. He was slinging his weapon across his chest. We used to play draft So I asked him to go with me to the guard room, main guard room. That is the physical guard room, to go and play draft. So he asked me to wait till the civilian population went home, then we can play draft. So I went. On my return, as I entered the State House, I saw a group standing. I said, yes, something have happened behind me. As I was going towards that group, a particular Sergeant Bojang, Paul Bojang, Baukar Paul Bojang, also was walking, coming towards me. So when we met, he told me that I'll be giving you back your pistol, but you have to go to your house and undress to civilian dress. I forgot this guy's initial, but he is Dumbuya. He told me Dumbuya have run away with his rifle and entered the market. So we are going to find him. But let's meet at Greenland. I was not far from there. I was living then at Picton Buckle. So as I was approaching the Greenland, I had almost 2 shots. So I just went directly towards the direction I had the shot coming from. When I arrived, I found Dumbuya lying down. He sustained 2 gunshot wounds on the abdomen.
Did you participate in the killing of Dumbuya?
I even had the shot before I reached there.
The question is, did you participate in the killing of Dumbuya?
No, Counsel.
This is a matter that would be investigated. It's in conjunction with the killing of Almamo Mane. We would investigate this. We haven't quite come to that point yet, but you are under oath.
Yes.
You are testifying before the commission. It's a crime. To lie under oath, it's also a crime to lie before the commission. You are saying that you did not participate in the killing of Dumbuya, Corporal Dumbuya. That's your testimony.
That's correct.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Let's fast forward to your transfer from State House.
No, I wasn't transferred.
Your subsequent
When I saw
move from state guards to junglers.
No.
Tell us about your move from State House and your training and enlistment into the junglers.
Okay. Immediately after that attempted coup,
Which one?
that was the coup that Almamo and the State Guard Commander Landing Sane involved, where Almamo loses his life and
Did you participate in the killing of Almamo?
never.
Did you participate in the attack in which Landing Sane was arrested?
No. This attack was done by soldiers who came from Kanilai. I think it was led by the late Musa Jammeh. They are the one who conducted that operation.
How about the killing of Dumbuya, Corporal Dumbuya?
The killing of Dumbuya, I was on the ground. Like I said, I was heading to the Greenland as instructed. Then I had gunshots, almost 2 shots.
Where is Greenland?
Greenland is, you know where the BICI bank was? If you continue going to the beach, that is where it's called Greenland.
Wasn't it there he was apprehended?
He wasn't apprehended. I found him sustaining 2 gunshot wounds on the abdomen.
At Greenland?
At Greenland, on the beach.
How many soldiers pursued him?
I found there are nearly 4 to 5 soldiers.
And you are claiming that you did not participate in that event?
I found Dumbuya on the ground.
You are claiming you did not participate in that
Yes.
event? Okay,
I
good.
didn't participate in the killing, but I went and changed dress to civilian clothing to come and find Dumbuya. So as I was coming, I had the gunshots.
No, you said you were going to Greenland.
Yes, after changing dress, I was heading to the Greenland.
To do what?
To join the group as instructed.
You joined the group looking for Dumbuya?
Dumbuya, yes, as instructed,
Exactly. With the aim of apprehending him?
apprehending him.
Okay, so as you approached, he was shot.
I had 2 gunshots.
Who shot him?
I couldn't tell because then I was not visible.
let me just take you back to the torture of Sanyang. The investigators have just received a statement from Musa Sise, and he said the narrative you gave never occurred, never happened.
That's the truth, Council.
Who has the truth, Musa Sise or you?
What I said is the truth.
Okay. Musa Sise has denied that what you said ever happened. He said you lie. RSM Fai said you lied. He was never there during that time. He was tortured after July. The narrative you gave is false. Sanyang, you have heard what he said. He too said what you said is false. Are all these people lying?
Yes, Council.
They all lying to implicate you. Is that what you suggesting?
I don't know what is in them, but the statement I gave was correct.
Pa Sanyang said you tortured him. He lied. Abdullahi Dabo said you tortured him. You saying he lied. All these people who testified before us, they all lied about the same facts that you're talking about. You're the only one who's speaking the truth. You want us to believe that?
Well, Council, I know the statement I gave was correct.
Okay. So let's continue with the issue of Dumbuya.
Yes.
So you arrived just a little after he was shot.
I arrived, as I was approaching the location I was directed, I had gunshots.
So, Mr. Witness, you in fact never earned your nickname, Assassin,
Well,
because you never were present when anything ever happened.
I was never an assassin. I get that name. I get this name because like I was a fast learner. I was very young when I joined the army.
No, you got the name because you always wielded a hammer when you tortured your victims.
No, that is not correct.
That's where you got the name Assassin.
No, that is Panderis view.
And the story that we have received from these witnesses you tortured, they said you guys wielded hammers when you went to torture your victims in Mile 2.
That is not correct. Cancel this nickname. I have it in 1991.
But you have this name Assassin for no reason, because, I mean, fast learners are never called assassins.
No, excuse me, I'll come to that, Council.
No, you answer questions. Fast learners are never called assassin. Correct?
Correct?
So assassin means you killer.
That is what it means.
Yes, but you claim you have never witnessed any killing.
Never.
You've never participated in any.
Never.
You've never witnessed any torture.
Never.
You've never participated in any.
Never.
Yet you had this name assassin.
This name, Council, if you can allow me, when we arrived at the training of weapons.
We've gone through that.
No, this was
The
my
thing is,
routine.
you did not deserve this name, assassin.
Okay?
You did not. But you were called assassin.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, Dumbuya, let's go past that. You were never there, you never participated. We would call you again with regards to this particular issue because it's being investigated. Let's fast forward to the time you became a jungler.
The time I became a jungler, after that attempted coup of Almamu,
In 2000,
Yes.
Yes.
I was removed from the bodyguard units, transferred back to the physical guard, and immediately transferred to Kanilai for a 1 month tour of duty. So when I arrived there, I found Sering Modu Njai as the commander there. So he told me to relieve the checkpoint guard commander. I am to be there for a week. So I did that. My 1 week elapsed. I was supposed to be relieved also and have 2 days off. But Sering Modu sent somebody to call me in his house. When I arrived, he told me, Senghor, I want you to do another 1 week tour of duty because I've realized how you control the loitering within HE's compound. So I said, no problem. I did another tour of duty. While in the bathroom after that tour of duty, taking bath, I heard noise, soldiers coming from Banjul. So the same commander sent somebody to call me. I went on that occasion with a towel to go and answer to him. So when I arrived, he told me there's a group of soldiers who came from Banjul. You have to join them for a training. That is this jungle training. We did this training nearly to 4 months. So when we passed out, I was posted back to the bodyguard unit.
And what was this jungler training about?
It was like a counter-terrorism, or I can call it.
You are to be trained to be assassins.
So even...
You were to be trained to be killers.
No. Even the guy responsible of training knew that I look low upon his knowledge in what he was training us. Because maybe...
You were already assassin. You already knew more about killing than he did.
Maybe somewhere within the top rankers, he have managed to baffle them and make them believe in what he was doing.
So what was it that he was teaching them?
Excuse me?
What was it that he was teaching them?
Something like to counter terrorism. But it was called junglers.
That's your testimony, that what he was teaching was counter-terrorism. He was not teaching you to be assassins, he was not teaching you to be killers.
No.
That's your testimony.
Yes.
You are under oath, you are being video recorded. The junglers would appear here, and we have statements from them. And the idea is they were trained to be killers.
Which I was not part of.
But you trained to be jungler nonetheless?
I did the course.
Okay, all right. So you were trained to be counter-terrorist. And what subjects did you do in counter-terrorism?
Maneuvers. Basically maneuvers.
Maneuvers, you mean movements.
Exactly.
How to take positions to do what?
To attack defensive positions, how to dislodge a defended position.
Do with what objective?
On security matters.
No. To penetrate defensive positions.
Or dislodge.
For what objective?
So in case like we have a threat.
To neutralize the threat.
Exactly.
Which is to kill those who making the threat.
Yes, Council.
So you are being trained to kill.
Not actually killing.
I am lost here. You are being trained to neutralize the threat, which is to kill the threat, but you are not trained to kill. That's your logic.
No, not exactly that.
So you are trained to kill.
Oh, correct.
Finally, you accept. You are trained to kill. All right. So after the training, what happened to you?
I was returned back to the bodyguards unit.
Did you participate in any jungler activity?
No.
That is your testimony?
Yes.
Well, we would still come back to this. It's being investigated. You are testifying under oath. You did not participate in any jungler operation.
That's correct.
That's your testimony.
Correct.
Again, you did not see anybody killed. You did not participate in any killing.
That is correct.
That's your testimony?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Let's forget about the junglers. Let's now move on to when you left the service. We are running out of time. Mr. Chair, I'll ask for 10-15 minutes to wrap this one up. So let's skip how and why you left the army. let's just say you left the army and you now moved on to NIA. That is it? You joined the NIA afterwards, correct?
Yes, I passed through somewhere before coming to the NIA.
Yes, well, we would skip those. They're not so important to your testimony, right?
Okay.
So you joined the NIA, and what responsibilities were you given?
My surprise, I was made a security guard.
During whose leadership at the NIA?
I joined the NIA, I think I found Pajalo there, Director Pajalo.
Could you say again, sir?
I found Director Pajalo there.
Ajalo. And which year would this be?
This will
2003, correct?
No, I left the army in 2003, joined the NIA in 2007.
Okay, good. And you were made a security guard during this period.
Yes.
Did this position change subsequently?
Yes.
And subsequently, which position did you hold?
I was made an operative.
An NIA operative.
Yes.
And with whom were you working at the time?
When my status was changed, I was posted under the operations unit.
Under whose leadership?
Under Alaji Moore.
Could you say the name again?
Under Alaji Moore.
Alaji Moore, what was his last name?
His job, the real name is Idrissa Job.
Did you, as an NIA operative, participate in any torture?
No, Counsel.
Do you know that the name you mentioned is one of the most notorious names to come from the NIA, and you are directly working with him?
That's correct.
You are agreeing that the name is one of the most notorious names, correct?
No, I'm not agreeing to that.
You said that's correct.
I mean, I work under him. That's why I said correct.
Did you participate in any torture at the NIA?
No.
Did you see any torture being conducted at the NIA?
I cannot say I see, but before I became an operative, like I said, I was a security guard responsible for detainees. I sometimes come to work and see marks on detainees. That shows that they were beaten.
Being what?
Bodily marks.
What?
Marks on their bodies.
So that shows they were being what?
Beaten.
So, and who was doing the beating?
Well, then I cannot tell. Then I was a security guard.
Would it be the NIA operatives?
It is an NIA officer, but whom exactly I can't tell.
But when you became an operative,
Yes.
you saw no beating.
When I became an operative, posted under the operations unit, our responsibilities were then, if we are given an order to go and arrest somebody that the agency needs, you go and arrest them, hand them over to the investigation unit. Or you are instructed to go to Mile 2 for a particular detainee who is to appear in court as a state witness. You will do that after the court, you return the guy back.
You know, I am trying to digest this, Mr. Witness. Here you have Alaji Moore in one hand, an assassin on the other hand. That is a lethal combination.
No, Counsel, I don't see it that way.
You were a torturer at the NIA.
No, I am not, Counsel.
You're still trying to stay away from responsibility. The NIA definitely would be investigated. The role of Alaji Moore and others would be investigated. And obviously, your name would also be investigated. You can only be entitled to amnesty if you are honest and truthful. If you lie, you can potentially go to jail. Do you understand? This is not a joke, Mr. Witness. And I put it to you that your statement is false. Let's move on. You left NIA and you moved to where next?
DLEAG.
What is that?
That is Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Gambia.
Essentially the drug squad.
Yes.
With who did you move there?
Together with Alajamor.
So you were moved to the drug squad for more effectiveness in the fight against drugs, isn't it?
Not actually. We were moved there based on the drug squad was introducing an intelligence branch. So Alajamor was to head it, and he was given a departmental transfer, and he took me along.
He took you along. So obviously he will take with him one of his most loyal subordinates, wouldn't he?
That is possible.
One of the most effective in their work. And the drug squad at that time was known for committing lots of tortures, correct?
That's correct.
Alaji Moore, an assassin, correct?
No, I disagree, Counsel.
So again, you did no torture.
That is correct.
You witnessed no torture.
That is correct.
So let's try to understand you as a person. You are called assassin by the army. You participated in November 11. You saw nobody beaten. You saw nobody tortured. You participated in the attack at Fajara Barracks. You collapsed. You saw nobody beaten. You saw nobody tortured. You saw nobody shot. You participated in you were present in the torture of detainees at Mile 2. You can't recall who tortured who. People were brought in to be tortured. You pleaded for them, they were not tortured. You were present at State House when an alleged coup was supposed to take place. You were sent to Greenland. You arrived there just to find that the target, Dumbuya, was shot. You did not see him shot. You don't know who shot him or how he was shot. You were moved later to the junglers. You became a jungler, but you participated in no jungler operation. You were moved to drug squad, or rather to the NIA. The NIA operatives were committing torture, but you never saw it. But when you became an operative, there was no torture. And then you worked with Alaji Moore, an assassin. In the minds of a lot of people would spell torture, but you did nothing. You moved on to the drug squad. You agree it was notorious for torture. You saw no torture. You did no torture. That is your testimony.
That is correct.